Right, so prediction season is in full effect and I'm fully here for it. There's so many questions going into the new season that absolutely need to be answered. What team will be the fastest? What team has the best lineup? Who's going to win the Drivers' Championship? Who's going to be the most unbearable twat on the grid? Okay, that one's easy to answer, but for real, there's a chance that the entire grid order can shake up with these new regulations, and it is I who happens to have the answers. I'm ready to leak the script for you guys, so you better be grateful for this. Also, side note, I'm very grateful for the views and the likes on the last video. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Let's keep it up, eh? Now, if you haven't guessed by the title, this video is ranking the constructor standings. Like, in making this video, I was unsure on how I should rank it, as I could either have done it by performance or by, like, the standings at the end of the season. And I've chosen to do it for the season, because at the end of the day, good cars don't necessarily mean good performances. Plus, you're probably going to see the answers quite soon in testing, so constructor standing predictions are just a bit more exciting and fun. Before testing, okay, which is smart, I know, but what's the fun when you have the answers already? I don't know, there's so many factors that go into this. I'll just explain what I can when the chance is there. This should be a long video, so hopefully you lot got the time today. Oh, and also, I've seen so many videos rating driver lineups too, so I'm also going to add that as well, but honestly I don't think it deserves a solo video. But in case people are so divided, I will... Yeah, enough talking, man. You basically already know I'm starting this video off. P11 Racing Bulls. Right, this ain't no rocket science to me. Simply put, this shittest lineup doesn't score many points. And okay, I know. Lindblad has not even had a one F1 race yet. But honestly, I don't have much faith in him at all. I'm not an F2 watcher, but from what people are saying, he needed more time, and I'm going to take that word. I'm convinced that he probably does need more time. I actually hope he just causes chaos, to be honest. Maybe he tops the Constructors Championship, but for the real deal championship, I'd absolutely not. And for Liam Lawson. I don't even want to hear nothing, to be honest. You can call it hating, I don't even care, he's just not all that. He can get decent points every now and again, but then with so much talent on the grid in better cars, I don't think the opportunity will be very frequent for Liam. And as far as the car goes, it's obviously going to be worse than Red Bull, that's just how it is. And I'll get to him later, but what I will say is I think it'll be like last season, where the first half of the season they're just trying to find their feet, and the second half is where you see the real improvements. And the logic I'm using here is that Racing Bulls will always be worse, so they're going to suffer more, simply put. I know putting them in dead last is crazy, but everyone needs to go somewhere, right? So let me talk about my lineup ranking. I'll just explain it real quick. What I did was I looked at every driver's last F1 season performance, compared them to each other, and put them in a list, which I'm going to put on the screen here. Please don't kill me. Ranking is harder than you think with so many factors. I'll argue back if I really have to. Then for each team, I combine the two drivers' ranking and then divide it by 2 to get an average score. The lineup rankings will be based on such. So for example, with RB, I had Lawson at 14th place and Lindblad obviously dead last. So then adding their positions and then dividing it by 2, I got a total of 18. And this gives a position of the 10th best lineup on the grid. But this might be a very interesting list, but whatever, it makes it more entertaining. So RB last place Constructors Championship in my opinion, and the 10th best lineup statistically. Get it? Cool, on to the next one. In 10th place, we have Cadillac. Now, a brand new 11th team in Cadillac. How exciting is this? Well, actually, the exciting part is having Bottas and Perez back on the grid as teammates as well. This should be absolute cinema. The battles for 20th place are gonna be crazy. Because let's be so real, the car's probably gonna be trash, like the worst. But the only reason I'm putting them ahead of RB is because I believe that these two are very capable drivers that can take advantage of other drivers having poor races or slip-ups. Look, if they aren't 20 seconds off the rest of the grid, they will surely be RB, right? This is the biggest unknown, but in a sense, it is known that it's not going to be great. Look, there's not too much I can say here. I just think good driver drags shitbox to lucky P10s, which would be enough to beat RB. Also, I'm going to state this now. I reckon the gap between the top and bottom teams would be massive. So these bottom teams are going to fight for literal P10s, like 1 points. I wouldn't be surprised if they even end up with 0 points. Only time will tell. Now for the lineup rankings. Now, Bottas and Perez have proven to be good drivers. However, both of them had pretty poor last seasons, which leaves the questions of how good these drivers can be after a year layoff. So with these poor performances, I got a total score of 17. Which puts them at the 9th best lineup statistically. Cue to hate, I know. That's not like they both didn't have poor 2024s. I don't make the rules. This rankings is chaotic. And number 9, Alpine. Alpine was a laughingstock of 2025. Surely it's got to be up from here, right? With a move to Mercedes power units, I feel like it's a safe bet to assume that they should be a little faster than last year. There's still a couple question marks, with one being Colapinto. Actually, he didn't do terribly in his head-to-head against Gasly, which is a good start, but at least Gasly was scoring when he could. If the car is capable of points, will Colapinto secure them? And another potential issue, which could affect all cars honestly, is reliability. I'm just going off pure gut instinct here and assuming Alpine are going to face more issues than most other teams. With a questionable lineup and a questionable car, I'm going to gamble on them improving, but not all by that much. And for the lineup, honestly, I feel bad for Gasly, as his car didn't allow him to put in as good of a season as it could have been, but my rankings are final, so don't take it to heart. With Gasly at 17th and Colapinto at 20th, they've secured an 18.5 average, making them the 11th best driver lineup. I think it's a little unfair, as I really think RB is worse, but the stats are final and I will not argue with that, so disagree in the comments all you want, blame the Alpine just being dog shit. Number 8, Audi. New team, sort of. New questions to be answered. Gabby and Hulk are skilled drivers who may not be the most consistent, but can definitely take advantage of opportunities. Audi are making their own power unit, which is going to give interesting results, and this team could also end up suffering from reliability issues throughout. However, they're already an established team, just rebranded really, so I'm sure they have the expertise to make constant improvements. For Audi though, I think this year will be more of a learning curve for them. Look at it like a stepping stone for better performances further into the regulation cycle. I don't think this season will be the best by any means, and the drive lineup still has some work to do. Bortolero is still new to the sport, and while he has potential, he still has work to do. And Hülkenberg is like the crafty vet, probably hasn't got too much more pace in him, but last year definitely showed that he can use experience to his advantage to get decent finishes. So I think 8th is a suitable position for Audi in their first year. And as far as the lineup rating, both drivers came in with a combined score of 15.5, making them the 8th best team on the grid. I think this is fair, as Bortolero definitely has room to improve and Hülkenberg's experienced, but not the best by any means. 7th place, Haas. Gazoo Racing, so dumb. Honestly, this midfield is hard, as I feel like these teams will struggle a lot for points this year, but I've decided to put Haas at 7th. Why? Well, let's look at the positives. They have a solid driver lineup of Ocon and Behrman. Cons? I'm so uncertain of his Ferrari engine, I don't even know if it would deliver like they want it to. Originally, I thought of putting them even further back, but I have a feeling that driver skill will have an impact on standings within slower teams, and I reckon Haas have got it. Honestly, I'll be so real, I haven't got much to say on Haas. This prediction pretty much goes on vibes. I think they'll do alright. Good luck to Haas. Or Gazoo, Toyota Haas or whatever. I'm sorry, Gazoo's such a stupid name. Why the brand that? Like, why even name a brand that? So, off face value, this is a decent lineup. Ocon needs to step up, and he can on a good day, while Behrman just needs to keep his nose clean and avoid penalties, but there is a real potential there. The score they got was a 14, which actually ties them with Aston Martin. Now, I'm going to put Haas ahead, solely because they have 2 solid drivers instead of 1. I mean, Alonso's definitely better than both of the Haas drivers, but Stroll's just letting them down, to be honest, so Haas gets 6th place in my lineup rankings. 6th place, Ferrari. And look, I can see you behind your screen already losing your mind, but like, hold on, really ask yourself, do you see Ferrari actually coming back with the most competitive car and engine for 2026? If you do, awesome, wish I thought like you. But I think it's going to be a peak year for them, to be honest. That Ferrari engine I was on about earlier, no faith in it. The actual car design, after seeing 2025's heroics attempt and just a big flop, I don't know man, I think they'll continue to struggle. Let it be known that this is in no part due to the drivers at all. I think they're both very capable. I just think that last year the car and the team are going to let them down. Maybe we can hope for a Leclerc Monaco win, but otherwise, yeah, I don't know man. And look, I really hope this prediction is wrong, but I just can't knock the pessimism I have. I'll argue with 2 good teammates, they could actually finish above who I put in 5th, but I think mechanically this year would be a massive letdown. I feel bad, especially for Hamilton. Just pray this guy makes it through the season, because this could be the sad way to go out. And while they'll miss the mark, let's talk about the lineup rating. I actually think it's the best part about Ferrari. As a 7-time champion and the top 3 driver on the grid in this prime is very promising. It's a shame I don't think the car's going to hold its end of the bargain. But otherwise, Ferrari's total score came out at 8, which puts them as the 4th best lineup on the grid. Hamilton's poor season probably dragged the grade down a bit, like let's not act like it was all that great, but you can only be optimistic that the new regs might just benefit him a little bit. P5, Aston Martin. If you haven't clicked off after hearing Ferrari at 6, let me explain myself. So, for one, I believe in the new movement fully. I think the car should drastically improve. As long as Honda hold up their dealers' engine suppliers, I think they'll have a better car than Ferrari. And 2, Fernando Alonso. Need I say more? And I know, Stroll isn't great, but if the car's good, I'm sure he can put a few points finishes here and there. But Alonso will do the heavy lifting for real. And then 3, because I said so. I can fully understand if you change these two teams around, but I just feel like they'll be fighting for that P5 slot. Due to the 2-driver V1 argument, it could be very close, but I believe Aston will come out swinging with a better car, like in 2023. So as long as Stroll holds up his end of the deal, this could be very possible. Wouldn't it be smart for me to put faith in Lance Stroll? And for the driver lineup, well, we all know the story of this team. One legend, great driver, unk but still got it, and a daddy's money merchant who can be okay on a good day, but is very inconsistent and definitely the worst of the two. So with that being said, the team got a score of 14. Now, I mentioned earlier how they're tied with Haas. Alonso did do better than both Haas drivers last year, but unfortunately, teams are a 2-man job, so I'm putting him at 7th place. Do better, Stroll. P4. Red Bull. Now, Red Bull's an interesting team to rank for multiple reasons. As far as the car goes, this new Ford engine they have was a bold move, and it will be interesting to see how they compete with the others next year. Also, they put a lot of focus into improving last year, so there's potential that they won't be at their peak immediately, and then they need time to improve throughout the season, which is similar to last year. Their strongest asset though is their drivers. Max, obviously the best driver on the grid. Hajar, best rookie from last year. While matching Verstappen is a tall order for anyone, I think Hajar definitely has the skill to perform better than the previous second drivers and even potentially outdo Max in some races. But in my opinion, this can make for an interesting dynamic in the team. I think to have a second driver succeed more, Max may have to sacrifice some pace of his own, meaning Red Bull have to make a choice of whether to accommodate to the both or favour Max with the potential of Hajar struggling. But to sum it up, I reckon poor first half, great second half, but their lack of consistency will lead them to a P4 finish. Okay, driver lineup. Like I said, best driver and best rookie in one team. Of course their lineup is going to be up there. With a score of 3.5, Red Bull have been rated as the second best lineup on the grid. Depending on how Hajar copes in this Red Bull, this could definitely change, but at the end of the day, both drivers clearly proved their worth last season. P3. Williams. Now, as you can probably tell, all the top 3 have Mercedes engines. I think we all believe they will have the best engines. So in third, I have Williams, which I think will continue on with their improvements from last season. There's a good chance that they have more podiums in them this year with all the work they say they've been putting into the car. And while it may not be championship winning, it will definitely show they're moving in the right direction. With 2 solid drivers they can also rely on, I think a good year is ahead for Williams, which is crazy seeing when they were 3 years ago, but hey, they were the best before and the comeback to the top could be on. Now for the driver lineup, this is very solid. Sainz has obviously proven himself, even with Williams now securing those podiums last year. Albon may still have a few questions around him, as this could be his first chance to be really competitive. Besides Red Bull, but he was new then, so I'll give him a break. But he showed his skill last year and I have belief from that. So the drivers came in with a score of 9.5, putting them at the 5th best lineup, which is fair, you ask me. P2. Mercedes. The runners-up of 2025, Mercedes is what I am predicting. And let's be real here, everyone knows that the Mercedes engine is meant to have an advantage. In such a case, you would expect them to be the main team to have the best out of the lot. And I think this constructors will go down to the wire, but unfortunately Mercedes don't get it done. I have 2 potential reasons for this, not guarantees, but assumptions. The first being more of a guess, but I think the team above will outdo them in terms of aerodynamics and chassis design. Mercedes have been seen to make errors in this department in recent years, and I just think they'll be less likely to get it perfect this time around. Maybe they improve over time, but I don't think it'll be enough. And the second is Kimi Antonelli. I don't think he's a bad driver. He's definitely good and has a high ceiling. The question is though, can he achieve that next season? And hater aside, I know Russell should be fine to put in another stellar season, almost certainly fighting for the championship. I mean, most people are betting on him winning the whole thing, and that's completely understandable. But can Kimi keep up? I think he still needs time to grow, and while he can show improvement, I think the team ahead will be consistent enough just to beat Mercedes simply from a constructor standpoint. If Antonelli performs really well, this could probably be wrong, but I still think there's a way for him to go before he's fighting alongside Russell. With a potential championship fighting teammate and a new rising star, this is a very solid team. One of the better teams, as much as I hate Russell. Mercedes have a score of 5.5, which puts them as the 3rd best team on the grid. I do think Red Bull has a better lineup, just a worse car, but it's pretty close. And first place, McLaren. And finally, here we have it. The 2026 Constructors winners, the same as last year. Yeah, I know, anticlimactic, but let me explain my reasoning. First, they have also got the Mercedes engine, which should be the best. As well as that, they have the best car by far last season. And I just think this will carry on, as clearly they have a capable team who could apply their knowledge into the new regulations. Also, they have two solid drivers that I'm sure both have their eyes set on the title. Last year's winner in Lando and a demon mode Oscar. Yeah, it's hard for a lineup to compete with this. And this is why I think they'll take a third title in a row with McLaren. Both drivers have been in this scenario before, and with their main rival Mercedes, I think McLaren as a team will pull more consistent results. I can see this being like a Russell first, then both McLarens, then Antonelli behind type of deal. If Antonelli had more experience, that could possibly beat out McLaren for the constructors, but he needs a little more work, simple as that. And for the lineup ranking, if you couldn't already tell, yeah, McLaren are first. We have the current world champion and the leader for literally half the season. This gave him a score of, which gives them the top spot over the main competition in Mercedes and Red Bull. Both these teams have second-year drivers, accompanied by arguably better drivers than both McLarens. But as of right now, McLaren lead the way. And that's it. That's my list. I'll put them up full on the screen now, just so you can get a good look. This was not easy to make at all. Such a big change in cars could really shake things up, but I'm excited to see it. Do you agree? Or disagree? Let me know in the comments. It's just opinion at the end of the day. Besides, mine's actually correct.